And I went and talked to one of the bosses. Um, he was out, he was a inspector, and he was out there grilling some ribs here in Tillamook. Anyway, I went up to him and I told him about all the ladies in the deli and how kind they are and how thankful I am for them. And one of them was Cynthia. And then I went in the door and there was a gentleman with tattoos on his face. When he went in the door, the first thing he got was one of the employees had been rude in her tone as soon as he came in the door and said, "Can I help you?" Like, that's kind of rude. The tone is rude. It's not called for. Now, I didn't catch that employee's name. But the guy with the tattoo on his face, obviously a rail rider. You know, off rails and trains, or at least did at one point. Anyway, he's drunk today. He said it's a different world. And it really is. I mean, when you're homeless, or look homeless, or undesirable, such as face tattoos, it's a different world for us. Now, Cynthia, she's pretty well nice to everybody, from what I see of her at work. Now, I went in to go get my dinner, and he was there, and he was yelling and shouting a bit. That's how I could smell his alcohol. And one of the other ladies was kind of frustrated with him because he was shouting and being belligerent. And so Cynthia was able to defuse the situation, so it didn't get violent. It didn't look like it was going to get violent. I was able to leave without feeling as if I'd done something wrong. If I get on one of those bikes, I'd be riding around on one of them. I wanted to say, I think you did a really good job with the situation with that guy.
I wanted to jump over the counter.
Right?
Like, how rude can you possibly be? What the fuck are you guys doing around here? We're working. What are you doing? You know what I mean? We're trying to do our job.
I think you did a great job of being professional about it.
Well, thank you. It takes a lot for me to bite my tongue. I'm from California, Bakersfield, so it's like a rough street out there. So everybody's always vulgar and rude, and I've got that. Sometimes I've got that same mentality as back then, but I try to wash that person away, and I try to be humble myself. Thank you. I
Gave me
appreciate that.
anxiety, so I had to leave the store for a minute. I made sure it was all in hand, but I totally forgot to get my coffee.
Oh,
and now that I'm back
coffee.
here for my coffee, Miss Miriam has 400 people in line.
Right. So just stand around and wait a little bit, you know.
I'm not looking stupid.
Me too. Stand there with my thumb up my rear. I was good to do.
Thank you very much for being pleasant.
You're very welcome. You have a great day. Have a great life.
That's horrible.
Okay. What do you want cake pop? What's the cake pop? Would you hear your cake pop? Okay. Thank you.
Daniel, did you want a cake pop? Ben, everybody here, they don't have they have this one or this one. Oh, thanks a lot.
one's your? I know this is twice in one day, but I really like coffee, so I want another one.
Okay. Brewed coffee, what size?
A tall and a grande cup
Okay.
with room for cream, or with cream in it, and I'll put a whole bunch of sugar in there, but I'll need it.
Sure.
Thank you, Miss Miriam.
Would you like to eat it? All right.
Okay.
All right.
Here you go.
All right. Out of 5 and your change today is 185.
As the noise on the line went down, so I didn't contribute to track. That's right. Same thing happens in my head. It's a new game. Every time I come in Safeway, I try to get. Yeah, right now you got.
Have a wonderful day.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'll be there in just a minute, guys. Thank you.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm here.
I noticed you parked the second spot over, even if this one's blank. Thank you. I've been complaining about people being nice lately.
Oh.
The lady Cynthia, who worked at deli, she's always real nice to me. And today, when I went in there to complain that she's nice to me, she diffused the situation with a drunk man who could have gotten out of hand quick. Yeah, thank goodness for intelligent people who have been somewhere other than Tillamook. I noticed you're not just friendly, you try to be actually helpful with people. One of the issues I've been having is one of the things I've been noticing is that the services that are supposed to help us, they're volunteer support. that doesn't help you.
I was never a holding hands. I'm not a drug addict. I put up my own just because I couldn't do it anymore 27 years ago. I haven't done anything till I was holding hands.
22 years ago.
So, and I was doing more of the program than the people that needed it. So, I mean, the ones that were the alcoholics and the drug addicts, even, I mean, most of them haven't been. I don't have one.
Claire was telling me that as far as things set up out there, that it's almost 100% addicts. Sometimes you get one or two that aren't, but they don't fit in. That's what Claire said.
People that lived, that are homeless had one beer like a week or so ago, and it just barely showed. They got well, like I told them, and they could and Jordy, we all figured it out on our own.
Yeah.
Give it up as
Yeah.
every figure Friday.
When you're in a subservient environment, you have to kiss ass, otherwise you're screwed. I'm not very good at it.
Rick,
Yeah, it was explained to me that you have to pay rent out there.
yeah, well, it's dues.
It's dues.
250, yes.
Yeah.
The other area is
So,
one is
yeah, that's one of the things. They told me there's all these free services, and when they told me to go to Helping Hands, that was not helpful. They screwed Claire over. They should have never taken her kids.
and if you actually
Well, every homeless person out here that I've spoken with said, don't go to Helping Hands. They won't help you. It's pretty much set up just to help out drug addicts.
yeah, you have to be a user.
Yo,
They're not trying to get up and they're not trying to.
if they keep coming back, they keep making money.
Right, and their higher power is not God. It's not Jesus, and it doesn't have to be, but they're never going to see it. So the desire is always there.
But they're trying to get busy themselves and not thinking about the drugs. They're just always Brian said that he used to be in housing. The only difference between him being in housing and him being on the streets is the roof over his head and him having to pay the bills. But he's hanging out with the same people and doing the same drugs. And I try to... And he's starting over. Yup.
Yeah, it's just you have to be able to
With me being autistic, a support network is important. People don't understand how actually vulnerable I am. Not only am I homeless, I'm also disabled. I have autism. I have Tourette syndrome, which will get me confused with being a drug addict, and I'm a male. That'll get me shot. 96% of those shot by police were males. And the thing is, most of those incarcerated, 81% nationwide, were homeless when they were arrested. So what I have to worry about is... Right. The biggest problem is the term mentally ill, because if you're schizophrenic, you're schizophrenic. But if you're autistic, that's not the same thing. If you're depressed because your husband was just killed, that doesn't mean that you're mentally ill.
No, that does not. When you're schizophrenic, it does, because you're never going to get better. If you stay on the meds, it makes you feel different every single day. So unless you're made to take them every single day, the rest of your life, to make sure they take them, they're never going to be stable.
There's also the fact that the drugs out here that they're treating themselves with are far worse. I mean, I have to deal with Christian a lot. If I tell him no to something that I literally don't have the ability to give him, he'll throw a tantrum. He'll go break something. He'll go... A lot of people told me that. I was told that he's a really good guy if he's on his meds, and if he's not on his meds, he might harm me. now with Robert Farnsworth, he has harmed me and he's harmed others in front of me, but I still like Farnsworth. I want him to have. What's my last? They're gonna send me to the helping or they say, do any drugs? I say, no, I smoke pot for a while. That's the only way to get dual diagnosis clinics to listen to you. You have to either smoke pot or you have to do you have to be an alcoholic. Yep, that's the result. You have to be on drugs.
I did not know that
It's supposed to be any dual diagnosis, which means you have comorbid conditions. I have Tourette syndrome and PTSD, and I have autism. Those are comorbid conditions. That qualifies me. But that's not how they look at it. How they look at it. And see, that's what everybody should have been doing to begin with, is working to help each other out. And then when they try to divide and conquer that way, they're preventing us from getting the help that we need, right? Or representation, or working together. It deprives us of that.
Patricia has, this is what they could do to help. I'm going to Easter Sales because I'm thinking of John, and she's sponsoring people, and now me and Karen are being sponsored.
One of the points I'm trying to bring up, Community Behavioral Health in Colorado is doing the same thing that they're doing here. It's called Medicare and Medicaid fraud. If you go in, you're supposed to do something for you, otherwise, this is how most of us end up going to the services to begin with. We try going to the police brush us off onto mental health. Yes. We go to mental health, they don't do their jobs as mandated reporters. By law, they have to turn it in immediately, and they don't. Me and Claire both busted them. We both recorded them and busted them. We have the evidence, but they call us mentally ill, and we're autistic, so we have no representation.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the government in our country is. If somebody has the truth, they can beat them and beat them and beat them.
It's also illegal. It's also I know all of that. The problem is I still have to verify that I'm telling the truth. I have to someone has to be there. She's also female, so in a lot of cases she can get away with just making an accusation. It's also age 65, so they'll more than likely go to the elderly and disabled one. Just a disability thing where they try to push you onto the mentally ill. But the problem is they're committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud by having us go to therapy, set up months and months and months, and we keep going to these things. It does cost us money, and it costs us time out of our lives to go there. butts ticket off of having to put wear and tear on our vehicles, gas in our vehicles,
Yeah.
and
Well, because if we have to go out of town, it'd be like we live out.
yup, and whether or not he's going to get to the vehicles. That lady in the BMW for 3.5 months over in the parking lot over there. I parked in that parking lot for 3 days when they told me that I wasn't allowed to park there anymore.
Is
Yup.
that when you had the thing on the top? I
Yes.
loved it. I wanted to see how you got it up. I said, you just tied it. It stays. And that wind beat it, I was shocked.
Well, I didn't tie it up there myself. Like I said, I have physical and mental disabilities. My mental disabilities, they pretend that autism is mental retardation and schizophrenia. My actual disability is post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm easy to trigger, and all of the cops, all of the mandated reporters, I have their training videos. I've watched all of their training videos. And what they do is literally the opposite of what they're told to do. There's also the fact that I recorded 988, and all of the things that they were telling me are literally the things that actually push a person to suicide.
That's what they do. Because they think it's less in the town. Because somebody told me that they'll send these people that are homeless and stuff somewhere else and
Yes.
and then you go to another.
They'll pay for you to get on a bus to go elsewhere, whereas they won't help you to get gas to leave right now. But after they've impounded your car for trying to turn them in, then they'll put you on a bus to elsewhere so that you don't keep trying to turn them in. Or they'll put you in a mental hospital in the next county over so that you're at a jurisdiction for turning them in. And then the cops will tell them you're schizophrenic, you're delusional, you're bipolar. And they want them to inject you. Then you get either a 10-2, which is 10 cc's of Haldol and 2 cc's of Ativan, or you get a B52, which is Benadryl kicker
So you're
with 5 milligrams.
slaughtering nothing.
Yes, you are a fucking idiot. Now it's got an 8% chance of making you be schizophrenic. It's got a 30% chance of making you schizophrenic for several weeks at a time. And it's got a 78% chance of making you temporarily schizophrenic for at least 4 days. And how do they treat people who go ahead and they give you a B52 for 10 Right, they just listened to the arresting officer or the officer that brought him in. That's what resulted in my friend Natalie getting her brain slowed out. Well, we have a lot of people who are not real Christians. They're manipulators. We know a lot of addicts out
And they
here
know
that
the words and they know, but they don't walk the walk. They talk the talk.
they know how to twist some of the
Yes.
words too. Like when
And
Jesus
that's
says that
Satan.
people will
Yes.
die, that's not him telling people to go kill those people. And when he says one another as I have loved you, he made gay people, he made straight people, he made black people, he made white people, he made women people, he made men people. If you believe in the Bible and you believe in that, then why would people go around saying, let's kill each other in Jesus' name?
Jesus didn't say go kill the Pharisees or Sadducees.
He did say they will die.
He said they will die.
Exactly. When I said that on my YouTube channel,
But that's where we're at now. All their stuff, everything from the top to the bottom of the beginning. And then we started getting a whole bunch of other. Yeah, we have ministers in the pulpit that know Jesus. And they
we've
say
got a lot of
they have
fire and brimstone in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
They use the fire and brimstone
Yeah.
to teach the hatred
Yeah.
and try to impose
Yes.
this hatred into the New Testament
Yes.
that's never been there.
the generation before me, that's all they did. And it
The
turned
fire and
people off,
brimstone.
Yeah. And
1940s, 1950s, very much.
48, they did that in all the tents, but they also healed. So everybody thought that it was crooked and everything, so just made it worse. The only person I haven't heard a whole lot of bad stuff about that was in the 48 revival, the tents and all that stuff. And that was, I can see his son and him, Billy Graham.
T.D. Jakes wrote the Women's Bible, and he admitted recently that he is scared of women. He is scared because they have so much power, because so many of them will come together basically as a coven and gospel.
It doesn't matter if you get together and have conversations,
And good people are always separated from each other.
Yes.
These people are egged on by the internet. They're egged on by the news. They're even egged on by the police and by the services. these are mentally ill people. Who's going to listen to them? That gets me even more. And then when you claim, oh, well, this person's mentally ill when they're autistic, and you're trying to insinuate to the rest of the media and the rest of the world that this person is mentally ill and schizophrenic.
And they hear and they're here. I mean, they're like people living in there.
Well, it takes 24 hours, or it takes 6 months to diagnose schizophrenia.
Right.
Being recently beaten up or raped to do that.
But if somebody 3 days, 4 days, I mean, like, you know, I thought to myself, yeah, that's why
I'm yelling at someone. As a male, if I don't yell, I'm treated like it's no big deal.
Right.
If I cry, I'm treated like I just need to man up. I get made fun of and ostracized, and literally I have to scream when people are harming me, and I can't.
I get that.
And there's a lot of women out here who agree with that, but they're still going through the same thing. And even though they're going through the same thing, they still admit that men have it out here worse than they do as far as that goes, as far as being hurt.
One person hears that somebody harmed a girl, they'll go after them if it's true or not. And I'm sorry, the cops take their word sometimes 2 months when they're not maybe out here, but like they have a stepdad, I can't get him, so I'm going to get him in trouble. And then they wreck his reputation and destroy him, and it was never true. And they right away, but they didn't like the guy.
With me, I had a friend of mine. She used to have a crush on me when she was underage, but I was suicidal. When she was an adult, she came into my life. We weren't friends before that. She was a little girl who was selling drugs to homeless people, heroin addicts, for her dad. And what I saw was a little girl hanging out with heroin addicts. So, of course, I tried to rip her off. Later on, when I was suicidal after I hurt my back, she's the one that came to rescue me. Now, when I went to Virginia at her request, it later became more than just a request. I didn't show up there. So I went to Virginia, and while I was there, she was still on heroin. She was having problems getting off of it. Her family blamed every argument on her and her heroin addiction. And of course, when things didn't go well there, because I'm autistic and I had no safety net or support there, I had a mental breakdown there, and now, right, that I followed her there. Now, I drove 1,700 miles to get away from her, but then they called her a friend of theirs, and mine, who was a lesbian, had a crush on her, and they said, well, Sean, they weren't going to tell her that I had smoked her, because Maggie Bowe and the trip with me was going to go, until she got busted selling meth. I was the homeless liaison, one of the 3 of us. But the moral of the story is, she was embarrassed that my car got stuck outside of her house. She was embarrassed that I was honking the horn. My car was broken down outside of her house, and I was severely dehydrated. And so she threatened that I stalked her. I drove 1,700 miles to get the hell away from her. She called up Maddie Boa, claimed that I had threatened to kill her and her family. So Maddie Boa ran around Boulder telling people that I had stalked some girl in Virginia, threatened to kill her and her family, and then you know how telephone works. Next thing you know, people were accused me of raping people and molesting children, and all came from Maddie Boa, and all these 2 girls in Virginia, and I'm like, hold up, time out. If you're going to assault me and threaten to kill me and threaten to kill my friends and family over something, you need to call Natalie Bollinger and ask her if I molested her or raped her.
Right.
Call up Alicia Bollinger and ask her if I molested her or raped her. And the first person that I reached out to...
They don't want to know if you're right and they're wrong. They just like that anger after somebody. I don't get it.
But then when we're gaslighted to the point, like for me, I'm autistic, so they use that to pretend that I'm socially retarded. And I am when it comes to dating, because, and this is going to sound weird, but I'm not going to start posting out with people who are not into that sort. So, like when somebody pretends that we must be a pervert because we were born with that particular anatomy, there's about 30% of us who are autistic, high-functioning autistic, that don't have we don't have that interest. We're grossed out by it.
Right.
Or we had experiences growing up like I did that make it so that you don't want to think about that. And it's not a pleasurable experience to even think about it. Why would we want to take part?
Right.
So just because I say no doesn't mean that it's okay for a woman and her friends to stalk me as a group
Right.
and to dehumanize me and try to demasculate me.
For any reason.
And as a male, people don't understand how scary it is to come forward about sexual abuse and physical abuse and systemic abuse because it's just assumed that you must be the predator. You must be the
I had a really good friend that I worked with. He was probably about 20 years old. On the rack, and she tie him up. And after he had his car wreck, his cousin was driving and hit me. I know you tell me this, this, and this. I said, yeah, all that's true. And he goes, it's all scary. And I
The little boy, the little girl, the kid on the playground. The little girl on the playground runs up to your little boy and hits him. You tell the little boy, oh, well, she just does that because she likes you, or the other way around.
Right.
Number one, you've taught your little boy that hitting you means that they like you. Number two, you've taught that little girl that hitting is okay if she got away with it. Then she's going to be more brazen. And if it's the other way around, the boy's going to be more brazen. But the more they get away with it,
Yeah.
the more free they feel that they can do it, and then the more they're going to do it. Like with Officer Whale in Lolatai, after assaulting me in Boulder County, he assaulted 7 other people and he was homeless. I just need to listen to the recording and get literally with me, which our predators and bullies do work together like that, but we have to be afraid of doing that.
Because they're going to go after you as a group.
Yup.
Yeah. And you guys will just disappear.
They threatened to kill a lot of my friends and family. A lot of my friends and family have ended up dead. They weren't all murdered or anything like that. A lot of them, it was just, they were drug addicts. They did fentanyl and ended up dead, or they,
All it takes is a well-placed thing that can walk across their enemies.
yup.
I mean, you're not going to tell someone, you know, you're
When
not
people give me weed
going
here,
to tell.
when people give me weed here, I don't smoke weed very often. But when they give me weed here, I always throw it away. If I'm going to smoke it, it's going to be from a dispensary. It's going to be somebody put methamphetamines in my soda pop in Hood River. When I tried to turn it in, they didn't do what they're legally supposed to, which is call the cops to show up and adult protective services. So I got the whole thing recorded. I just need somebody to actually help me to turn it in so I don't have to do it alone. And that's one of the biggest issues out here. Everybody wants to pawn everybody on somebody else. Nobody knows what they trust. It's half the people that say they're so wrong. And then they won't.
Well, they always do it.
Well, Alexander yesterday was telling me he'd been sober for 5 months. Then last night, after I told him, no, he messes with meth and opiates. Anyway, he said that he wasn't messing around with none of that. He'd been clean for 5 months. He tells me that yesterday. And then last night, I told him, hey, 6 times today already, you've gone to use the bathroom for 45 minutes or longer and come back messed up. So he admitted that he'd been getting messed up all day. And this morning, I had to bring him back in because he had to be to work by noon. So I had to make sure to come in early and take care of that. It cost me over $100 overall. I gave him 38 bucks or something like that. It's, well, 60, 58 now because I gave him 20 to help me today. But the first thing I did when he woke up was make sure I drove him back down into town so he could get that done on time, so I wouldn't have to listen to him being angry, all that. But, you know, a lot of people out here have been exactly like that.
Yes.
And most of them do have stories that would help me out, but this is the peer support that for example, the Seventh-day Adventist, the lady who works at the hospital, I saw her at the feed. She wanted me to go to Brian as peer support. I'm like, you can't have me go to a hospital with a drug addict, a known drug addict, into that hospital, especially if he's got problems with him, especially if he's strung out. It's not going to go well. When he says that he's sober, he means like he hasn't done any in an hour or two.
Right.
When I say sober, I mean somebody who doesn't do drugs.
Right. Yeah, I didn't like it. Actually, I started I know, it doesn't do that for me. Why waste
Yeah, it's not my thing. Like when all my friends turned into meth addicts, I tried it, but that was it.
Oh my God, your life is every time you want some. No. Why? Well, because I saw you lose everything in less than a week, dude. I don't want it there.
I had a friend of mine, he wasn't so good looking, but he was always really good with the ladies. He always got the ladies that he wanted. He said, dude, all you got to do is pay attention to her for 30 minutes. You'll be able to figure out what drugs she likes, and you give her that. You'll be able to tell if she's an alcoholic, a meth head, a cokehead. But nowadays, between the alcohol, the pharmaceuticals, and the prevalence of heroin and methamphetamines, everybody's on it. If you're not on drugs, you're a rarity. 70% of Americans are on pharmaceuticals, and 70% of the world's opiates go to Americans.
I do not want any narcotics. I mean, I don't have to have it go away just for recovery. And give me like
Don't live in your car. Take a rest. You need to lay in bed for a couple of days and see how it feels, and then come back. I don't have a bed to lay in.
No, actually, they gave me a shot that was a little stronger than my Tylenol I was taking, and then they did a patch that the inflammatory in the arm or the butt, and then a patch. And it helped
2 days. Once it wears off, it hurts worse though. It didn't?
No. But mine, I found out. I finally, after 20 years, found out I have a slip disc. I have
Myself as well.
and I have a spine curvature, but it's all from age related. It's nothing I've done, and I'm not.
I have to walk, otherwise everything stiffens up. Then it hurts for me to walk. But
Yeah,
you know,
see that's why I walk, but I didn't walk as much as I should have been. But since I was homeless, the rest of the first month I was out, I've been holding hands, and actually I walk less when you get helping hands than I do.
well, I was told that because I'm not on drugs and not a drug addict, I'm not going to fit in at Helping Hands. I was also told they'll have me. It'll be required that I go to a bunch of like AA meetings.
Everybody has to. Yes, everybody does.
And then there's all
And
the
it's
other
just us
appointments.
teaching each other and talking. You're just reading this stuff.
It's like an AA group, it's not a support group. Their sponsor can be a support group, but they're usually not. But they still require physical health. Right. Well, the thing about the classes is most people are going to that so they can get support, but they're not trying to get support staying clean because they're not on drugs.
The people that's there, they're just doing it so they can stay there and not be
tell
now.
people that I smoke pot so that I'm
Yeah,
not
you
turned
can't
down for
stay
this
there.
stuff, people don't understand that it's realistically the way it is. You can't get diagnosis stuff. You can't even have good with the
Doesn't
homeless
matter.
community
Yeah,
unless
even
you
if you
are,
have
or a
surgery,
female.
you have to
If
go
you're a
somewhere
female,
else.
you can get away with not doing drugs or alcohol. But as a male, no, you're not going to be trusted. You're going to be treated like a cop or a snitch.
And there's more guys out there than girls.
There is.
Yeah.
Although women account in some places 1 in 5 of the homeless, and in some places 1 in 16 of the homeless, depending on where at in the nation.
See, and I figure if you can live with family, because, but now that people that don't right away because they
How do we kick the drug addicts out of their families, stealing from them, and then they're homeless, and then they say, well, all those homeless people are drug addicts who steal from people. And then they want to tell me, well, you know, my brother's out there on the streets and he's a drug addict. And you're talking trash about all the drug addicts out there. I'm like, hold on a second. I'm not talking trash on the drug addicts. You kicked your brother out of your house because he was stealing from you. Now he's out here stealing from us. I'm not saying that he's some horrible monster because he's a junkie. What I'm saying is you gave us your problem. And now you want us to feel sorry for the brother that you didn't feel sorry for enough to be able to take care of him as a family member. And then you're pressuring us out here on the streets to take care of people like that. It's horrible. We can't take care of ourselves with people like that ripping us off all the time. And then we're told you have to feel sorry for them. They're an addict. All right, I'm freezing and I want to roll a cigarette, so I'm getting in my car. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Well, if it won't start, let me know. I'll help you jump it. Oh, okay.
I normally stay on all the time. If I get out at
What was your name again? Susan. I'm horrible with names. Mine's Sean. I should remember Susan because I'm fond of telling people I grew up in the system. I don't feel loved without my daily dose of abuse. So beat me, spank me, and call me Susan.
Oh.
Just kidding. I'm a Sally, silly. So I might accidentally call you Sally.
I was at this nursing home and this, I was like, hey, he grabbed me and asked me, what are we doing here? And I tell him, you're in the dinner line, he's are done getting Sam before we go in. And he kept asking me that every single time. So finally I said, my name's Sam. And he goes, how you doing today, Sam? He remembers Sam. So there was something in his past that there was a Sam that was really good to him or something.
Word association,
Yeah,
familiarity.
That's when I started doing. So when people, they keep bugging me, they can't remember my name, say Sam. And it is actually an easier name to remember.
Well, Alexander, I like him, but his drug addictions and drug problems, I mean, that's something that I can't fix. And that's something that these professionals need to stop pawning me off on that. They know I don't have friends or family in the area.
Right.
And the only people who aren't going to tell me they don't have time because they're busy with their own stuff are people who really just spend their time looking for drugs.
Yeah.
Any of these sober people.
You know that we can go to.
Yep. And a lot of these sober people, they're like, oh, well, Sean, I don't know how to help you. I don't know how to help you. I'm like, I will pay you money to let me teach you how to help me.
Right.
But then instead of them doing that, instead of them making money, they complain at me that they're always broke.
Right.
And then the drug addicts are the ones who actually offer to help. So there's all these people that could be getting money for actually doing something to better our lives, not just mine.
Right.
But instead, I'm wasting all of these resources on drug addicts because I have to try, and I literally can't do these things for myself.
Right.
All right, I better get in or we're both going to freeze. Oh, yeah. I still have tobacco here.